So welcome those who may be trying to find us. The website's down, but I'm glad you do have the YouTube, and I'm glad Kama was able to find her way. So today,
I can check if anybody comes in on the YouTube. I'll just keep an eye on the chat to see if anybody puts in
okay, and
something
then
on the chat.
so then also we're going to have the chat open on YouTube, and if anyone's watching on YouTube and has a question, then live on YouTube, then we can answer the question the best of our abilities. Today we're going to continue with the sutta that we were looking at last week. Is at Majjhima Nikaya number 39, and it's a greater discourse at Asapura. And it's a sutta on the gradual training. And it's a lifetimes, I think, in order to really, because the final stage is arhatship in the sutta. So I don't know that I could take you all the way to arhatship, but we can look at the path that the Buddha laid out for us, and certainly work with this different elements of the gradual training. And it's not like a step ladder, the gradual training. Um, you step one, and then you go to step two, and then a step three, and you leave the other steps behind. It's like uh, it's a foundation that's getting stronger and stronger as we go along, and it's not necessarily so sequential either. They can all be working together, but there's some really basic elements that we need to have in order to get anywhere. It is like taking the first few steps if we don't start walking, but we still need to develop the beginning stages. So I'm going to go to the document now, and then screen share. I think we have it. Does that look good? Okay. So this is what we looked at last week. This is I brought in another sutta on lack of here, the shamelessness and lack of conscience. This is what we're trying to avoid. So we want to have conscious being aware of what's harmful and what's helpful. This is hiri. It's not hiriotapa. It's hiri. I always have a hard time because I've always seen it like two words, hiriotapa, but it's hiritapa. So ethical conduct starts with that. I have it here as hirotapa. That's what it is, hirotapa, and conscious concern. And then that was brought in first, and then good contact, purify our conduct through body, speech, and mind. And then guarding the sense faculties. I'm just doing a little bit of review here, which is often, the word often used is indriya samvara, but it's guarding or protecting our mind, and that contacted all the sense faculties of protecting our mind from unwholesome states from arising. So we discussed that last week. So this is where we're starting. We have conscious and prudence. Our bodily, verbal, and mental behavior is pure. Our livelihood is pure. Our sense doors are restrained. And so they reflect that they've worked on these elements, and then it says the Buddha is saying, and what more is there to do? Was the question that somehow didn't get in there. And he says, you who seek to be true ascetics do not lose sight of the goal of the ascetic life. While there is still more to do. What is the goal of the ascetic life?
Nibbana.
That sounds good to me. So, so what more is there to do? So this is like I was saying, you're taking various elements, and the next element that's discussed is moderation in eating, is how Bhikkhu Bodhi, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi translates the word Bojane Matanyuno. What more is there to be done? Because you should train thus. We will be moderate in eating, reflecting wisely. We will take food neither for amusement, nor for intoxication, nor for the sake of physical beauty and attractiveness, but only for the endurance and continuance of this body, for the ending of discomfort, and for assisting the holy life. Considering, thus I shall terminate old feelings without arising new feelings, and I shall be healthy and blameless, and I shall live in comfort. That sounds familiar.
Like we say it at least once a day.
So it's but it's a little bit different because here it is, Bojane Patunyo Bhavisami Patisankayoni. So Arahang Ararisami Ma. And then this is Mat Tanyu, knowing the correct measure, knowing the limit, moderate. And then Patisankha, it's usually Patisankayoni so bindapatang patisevami nevadavaya namadaya namandanaya navibusanaya yawadeva imasakaya satitiyaya panaya vihingsu paratiya brahmacharya nugahaya iti puranancha vedanam patihankami navancha vedanam nupadesami yatra cha me bhavisati anavachita japasu viharo chati. So this is a shorter version of that. I don't know, do you have I don't have the actual sutta open.
Sure I do. Yeah.
You do. And so I said just only that bit.
In this way,
Oh, it
no, it's
does.
the full thing.
Okay.
It's the full thing.
I guess I didn't get the full do you want to read the way that's translated by it's Bhante Sujato? Yeah.
We will not, let's see. We will eat after reflecting rationally on our food. We will not eat too much. We will only eat after reflecting rationally on our food. We will eat not for fun, indulgence, adornment, or decoration, but only to sustain this body, to avoid harm, and to support spiritual practice. In this way, we shall put an end to old discomfort and not give rise to new discomfort. And we will have the means to keep going, blamelessness, and a comfortable abiding.
So that shows how important this is, that we eat in moderation. This is like in monastic life, because we're celibate and we limit things like we don't indulge in things like entertainment and things like that. A lot of times the food is what's because we have to eat to live, and so, but just to know the right amount. And this is patisankha, reflecting carefully, considering with due consideration. And yoniso, this is a properly, prudently, thoroughly, carefully, intelligently. And this is yoniso manasikara is another place where yoniso appears in the sutta. And that's another like really considering deeply, and it's a precursor to insight. It's a yoniso is really looking to according to the sources, because yoni is womb. So you're going to the source, which is reflecting back. And this yoniso is like part of the patisankha, reflecting carefully. So just really, why are we eating? What is the purpose of our eating? Sustain our life, to help us with the holy life.
Can you remind me who he's speaking to at the beginning of this?
Pardon me?
Who is he?
He's speaking to the bhikkhus.
He is speaking to the bhikkhus, yet he's not using the word pindapat. He's just using a general word, ahara. So I was just double checking to see.
Yeah, it does. He is using ahara.
Mhm.
This aharang here is just food.
Yeah, so it's not
Basically, it's food.
usually in our chant, it's pindapata,
Pindapata, because we're
the lumps in the bowl.
yeah. So yeah, so that is an interesting point. I noticed that too.
Yeah, and
But it's the proper measure of the food
yes, which we
in the
get in
bowl.
the Ovada Patimokkha,
Uh-huh.
that's included as a thing to be mindful of. Interesting.
Yeah, so not to take too much and know that just the right amount. In the Zen tradition, we have these bowls called oryoki, and I think that actually means in Japanese something like the right measure. You have to know just the right measure of food, because you don't throw out any of the food, and you need to eat what and you're not supposed to overeat either. So you have to really judge the proper amount each time. So that shows the importance of that's for both monastics and lay people to consider wisely, and eating not just for entertainment. And it doesn't mean we can't enjoy our food, but does mean that we need to really consider the food carefully. So the next one, do you have Bhante Sujatos open?
So the conscious imprudence, or
We're down to
right, and then
devotion to
don't eat too much.
wakefulness.
Do you want me to read the?
Yeah, if you could read that, please.
What more is there to do? You should train yourselves like this. We will be dedicated to wakefulness. When practicing walking and sitting meditation by day, we will purify our minds from obstacles. In the first watch of the night, we will continue to practice walking and sitting meditation. In the middle watch, we will lie down in the lion's posture on the right side, placing one foot on top of the other, mindful and aware, and focused on the time of getting up. In the last watch, we will get up and continue to practice walking and sitting meditation, purifying our mind from obstacles. Now, mendicants, you might think, we have conscious imprudence, our bodily, verbal, and mental behavior is pure, our livelihood is pure, our sense doors are restrained, we don't eat too much, and we are dedicated to wakefulness. So we're done, right? No?
Well, we should stop.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have to look at our devotion to wakefulness.
Can
So uh, this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation that I have here. Devotion to wakefulness. In the first watch of the night, while walking back and forth and sitting, we will purify our minds from obstructive states. In the middle watch of the night, we will lie down on the right side in the lion's pose with one foot overlapping the other, mindful and fully aware. See, there's this mindfulness and full awareness it's coming in at this point. After noting in our minds a time for rising, after rising on the third watch of the night, while walking back and forth, sitting, we purify our minds of obstructive states. And you should train yourself like this. We will be dedicated to wakefulness when practicing walking and sitting by day. We will purify our minds from obstacles. And this is
That's the other.
Jagara is a monk's name, but it means to be awake. And then we have where Niya Yehi, and this is where Niya is obstructive, impeding, hindering, literally to be obstructed. So this struck me one time when I was looking at this, because a lot of times you think that it means that you shouldn't sleep more than about 4 or 5 hours for if you calculate the watches of the night. And very few people, monastics that I know, really try to enforce that on themselves or think it's a good idea, unless you're really your meditation is really great and you're able to meditate without so much obstruction. And what was striking me as part of the wakefulness is purifying the mind of obstructive states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
that was the same thought I had. Was it's not just I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake, and
right.
feeding the hindrances.
So the wakefulness, to be awake, to be alert, part of like with just not just being awake physically with our eyes open, but the mind being awake, the mind being bright, the mind being pure. And then there's this clear awareness. I don't know how Bhante Sujato translated that.
Are you talking about At which point?
He says, you should train yourself. We will be dedicated for wakefulness when practicing walking and sitting, let's say, free of obstacles,
Mindful and aware,
mindful and aware.
sampajano.
So there's a sampajano is coming in already.
Sato, satipan. Yeah, and that's just the nominative form of those.
Yeah,
Sati sampajano.
because here is the next one. Maybe I should get I'm going to get to Sutta Central, I think.
We'll go back to that one. And then you had the link at the top,
I have the link at the top.
near the top. Yeah, down.
There it is. Okay, let's go here. All right, so then everybody can look at this.
It's way down further than that.
Yeah, with devotion to, because we got both the Pali and the English here. Oh, okay, yeah. So we're getting close. So this is what the Bhante Sujato. Do you want to read what Bhante Sujato says about
the next one? So
yeah,
we weren't all the way there yet with just being mindful of our food and wakefulness. Now you should train yourselves like this. We will have situational awareness and mindfulness. We will act with situational awareness when going out and coming back, when looking ahead and aside, when bending and extending the limbs, when bearing the outer robe, bowl, and robes, when eating, drinking, chewing, and tasting, when urinating and defecating, when walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, speaking, and keeping silent.
okay, so now I can flip back to that. Sorry about this. It was like, okay, so then this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation of that same section. And he's clear or full awareness is what sampajanya is, sampajana, I think that's the word. What more is to be done? Bhikkhus, you should train. Thus, we will be possessed of mindfulness and full awareness. We will act in full awareness when going forward and returning. We will act in full awareness when looking ahead and looking away. We will act in full awareness when flexing and extending our limbs. We will act in full awareness when wearing our robes, carrying our outer robe and bowl. We will act in full awareness when eating, drinking, consuming food, tasting. We will act in full awareness when defecating and urinating. We will act in full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking, and keeping silent. So there's a full awareness. Situational awareness is Bhante Sujato's take on it. And in this context, it's true that you're aware of what's going on, but it says acting too. This is you should train yourself. Yeah, okay. The Sati Sampajanya, this is this see if I have it here. Clear present moment awareness, mindful attentiveness. So it's to be aware of what one is doing in the present moment. And you can see it's like really, when I was a Zen practitioner, this is a lot of our practice is just being aware of like sweeping and whatever it is that we were doing. And then also in the when I was in Thailand too, we spent a lot of time doing like physical things like sweeping and like cleaning and things like that, and applying one's mindfulness to the activity itself. And this is Sampajanakari is here. And then it's a compound word. And it says forming a clear perception, creating a clear impression of, cultivating attention while making clear knowing is how it's literal. But this word is kari, doing and making. And this is why they say, Bhante Bodhi says uh, that we will act in full awareness. So it's the acting with or acting, we will we will act with situational awareness. So this is the action of doing. And then in Majjhima Nikaya 10, the Sati Sampajanya, excuse me,
Patana.
Satipatthana, thank you.
Yep.
The Satipatthana, the four foundations or establishments of mindfulness. There's a section in the mindfulness of the body that's called full awareness. This is Nyanamoli Thera's translation, Venerable Nyanamoli Thera. Again, a bhikkhu is one who acts in full awareness when moving to and fro, who acts in full awareness when looking at and away, when acts in full awareness when flexing and extending, who acts in full awareness when wearing the patched cloak, bowl and robes, who acts in full awareness when feeding, drinking, chewing, supping, who acts in full awareness when evacuating the bowels and making water, using polite English, who acts in full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking, and keeping silent. So this is one of the practices in the Satipatthana and the mindfulness of the body.
Yeah. And this last Saturday, we were up at Clear Mountain, and the topic there that Subhajana led, and I did a little bit of, was also now I'm saying the wrong one too.
Sati
Sati
Sampajanya.
So I'll paste that both into the link to that talk, both into the sorry,
YouTube,
no, Zoom,
the
and
Zoom,
and we do have people on the
YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay. So anyone on YouTube too, if you
Cat's
want
over there.
if you want to, apologize for our
Website
down, but if you want to put something in the chat also for a question when we get to that point. It's we're not going to get through this whole sutta even today because as I was saying, it's a gradual training and it's quite extensive, taking us all the way to arahantship.
Yay!
If if we follow it with dedication.
Let's do that.
So I put a joke here. Finally, we are on retreat, but oh no, here come the hindrances. So, do you want to read Bhante Sujato's?
Alrighty.
Let's
see here.
And what more is there to do?
Well, Take a mendicant who frequents a secluded lodge in a wilderness, the root of a tree, a hill, a ravine, a mountain cave, a charnel ground, a forest, the open air, or a heap of straw. After the meal, they return from alms round, sit down cross-legged, set their body straight, and establish mindfulness in their presence. Giving up covetousness for the world, they meditate with a heart rid of covetousness, cleansing the mind of covetousness. Giving up ill will and malevolence, they meditate with a mind rid of ill will, full of sympathy for all living beings, cleansing the mind of ill will. Giving up dullness and drowsiness, they meditate with a mind rid of dullness and drowsiness, perceiving light, mindful and aware, cleansing the mind of dullness and drowsiness. Giving up restlessness and remorse, they meditate without restlessness, their mind peaceful inside, cleansing the mind of restlessness and remorse. Giving up doubt, they meditate having gone beyond doubt, not undecided about skillful qualities, cleansing the mind of doubt.
We stop right at
Okay.
that moment.
Sure.
The reason why I wrote that in my notes is because, it sounds like the person has gotten rid of it, but they have to do that work. You see here, there's this giving up covetousness for the world. So they've done the work of abandoning it. And I think anyone who's gone on retreat, they're like all excited and they get there and they start meditating. And then what happens?
Up come the hindrances.
Yeah, so the hindrances become very apparent. And sometimes we have I heard Ajahn Pasanno says a major hindrance attack.
Or hindrance storm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one after another, we're getting, what we think we've taken care of one hindrance and another. It's often like the going back and forth between drowsiness and or excitability, restlessness, and drowsiness. You work really hard to get the mind to settle down, and then all of a sudden you're falling over on your face. Sometimes I've opened up my eyes and the floor is several inches from my nose because I've leaned over. And so yeah, so and then so then also like memories from the past and anger coming up about things that happened 30 years ago and all that we have to work on, depending on how old we are. There might be quite a backlog of, or just even stuff that we've thought about and thought we were done with, still comes up again. It's very uncanny how that is.
I remember this particularly icky scene from a book I read quite a while back. And that silly scene, well, not so silly, but it kept coming up in my meditation over and over and over again.
Because you imagined it by reading it?
Yeah, in reading that, yeah, by reading it, it's just like it was a particularly shocking scene that wasn't typical in the books I read. And it
Okay.
just went, oh. And I was so surprised at for how many years that particular scene would just come up in my meditation and I'd be grossed out again.
Yeah, so those things happen. It's weird how that happens. So, but this is finally they get on retreat after doing all this preliminary work and still.
And my point is, it doesn't even have to be an experience from your life other than reading a book. It can be
Movies.
just a movie. Yeah, I've heard other people talk about movies. I wasn't as much of a movie goer as a book reader.
Yeah.
So what we put in, 5-year-old was relaying a scary movie that he accidentally watched the other day. And it's like, wait, what are we doing? It's going to show up on the cushion.
Okay, so This is so this bhikkhu has gone into seclusion, and I've heard too that there's sometimes there is the preliminary training with other bhikkhus, and then they get to a point where they can be off on their own meditating. So he resorts to a secluded resting place in a forest, a root of a tree, a mountain, a ravine, a hill cave, a charnel ground, a jungle thicket, an open space, a heap of straw. So yeah, this is in the modern day, people going off on retreat, taking that time. And then on returning from the alms round, sits down. And this is why it's really important to eat moderately, because if you overeat, you're going to be really subject to sloth and torture, as I jokingly call it, but to dullness and drowsiness. And folding the legs crosswise, sitting with the body erect, establishing mindfulness before them, abandoning covetousness for the world. They abide with a mind free of covetousness. And this is why you see this covetousness and aversion is in the Mahāassapurasutta Sutta, when they go into seclusion and they've abandoned those. And this is why they say it's a shorthand for all 5 hindrances. Abandoning ill will and hatred, they abide the mind free from ill will, compassionate for the welfare of all living beings. I think that's a beautiful. So the opposite arises once we've abandoned and also cultivating this compassion for the welfare of living beings. They purify the mind and of ill will and hatred, abandoning sloth and torpor. They abide free from sloth and torpor, percipient of light, mindful and fully aware. They purify the mind from sloth and torpor, abandoning restlessness and remorse. One abides unagitated with the mind inwardly peaceful. One purifies the mind from restlessness and remorse, abandoning doubt. They abide, having gone beyond doubt, unperplexed about wholesome states. One purifies the mind from doubt. So this is the work, preliminary work. So I think I have Bhante Sujato's here too. So what more is there to do? Here's the Pali. Take a mendicant who frequents a secluded lodging, a wilderness, a root of a tree, a hill, a ravine, a mountain cave, a charnel ground, forest, the open air, a heap of straw. So we separated, detached. So this is a secluded place, solitary, aloof. You return after the meal from arms round, sit down cross-legged with body straight, and establish mindfulness in their presence. I like that. And this is upata petwa, having set up, having made sure is present, having caused to stand.
Near.
So this is what, there's all these different, the satipatthana, it's a compound of sati and upata patana, I guess. Upatana. So the standing, having set up, making sure is present. Establish mindfulness in their presence. And this is what we just read. We don't have to read that again, I don't think. Here come these beautiful similes. So this is actually what inspired me to look at the sutta, is that there were these similes in it, but it's taken us a while to get here, huh?
That's
It,
why it's called a gradual training.
yeah. So what people do is they try to jump right away to abandoning the hindrances, but they have to do the other practices as well, along with, but especially with the sila, keeping our sila well through body, speech, and mind. And then also hiri, the hirotapa, that we're conscious, we're aware of what's harmful for ourselves and others, and what's beneficial. And then that consciousness, like a Jiminy Cricket, like having a conscious as our guide. It's no, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. um, so so here are the similes. Would you like to read them?
Which version?
You got
Or
Bhikkhu
Sujata?
Bodhis, or you could look at Sujatas first if you
Okay.
want.
Suppose someone has gone into debt.
That's
That's
is
the
that the
first.
first one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
Yes. Suppose someone has gone into debt and they were to apply themselves to work and their efforts proved successful. They would pay off the original loan and have enough left over to support their partner. Thinking about this, they'd be filled with joy and happiness. Do you want me to keep going through all of them?
Yeah, you can go through all of them.
Suppose a person were sick, suffering, and gravely ill. They'd lose their appetite and get physically weak. But after some time, they'd recover from that illness and regain their appetite and their strength. Thinking about this, they'd be filled with joy and happiness. Suppose a person was imprisoned in a jail, but after some time they were released from jail, safe and sound, with no loss of wealth. Thinking about this, they'd be filled with joy and happiness. Suppose a person was a bond servant. They would not be their own master, but indentured to another, unable to go where they wish. But after some time, they'd be freed from servitude. They would be their own master, not indentured to another, a free person able to go where they wish. Thinking about this, they'd be filled with joy and happiness. Suppose there was a person with wealth and property who was traveling along a desert road, but after some time they crossed over the desert safe and sound, with no loss of wealth. Thinking about this, they'd be filled with joy and happiness. In the same way, as long as these five hindrances are not given up inside themselves, one regards them as a debt, a disease, a prison, slavery, and a desert crossing. But when these five hindrances are given up inside themselves, one regards this as freedom from debt, good health, release from prison, emancipation, and a place of sanctuary at last.
So this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. It's pretty much the same. Actually, we could just go to, so we have here the Pali, Kama Chanda, the sense desire, Vyapada is ill will, Tinamida is dullness and drowsiness, and Udacha Kucha is restlessness and remorse, and Vicha Kicha is doubt. So I've got in the commentaries, they have each one of those similes are attributed to one of the hindrances. So the person who's gotten into debt, who applies themselves to work, and we're able to pay off the debt. The debt is kamachanda, and this appears in other similes about sense desires. Like there's a man who's borrowed money, and they're wearing really nice clothing and jewelry and all this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden someone comes and takes takes away what they had because they hadn't paid their debt off. And so this is a suffering that craving is. So there is a this sense desire and being in debt. But in order and both these being taken out a loan and being free from the loan, one considers this and they will be glad and filled with joy. And this is when each of these hindrances are overcome, a person is filled with joy and happiness. So a person sick, suffering gravely ill, they lose their appetite and get physically weak. And this is ill will. And if you are really angry, you can see how draining it is. At first, maybe there's some kind of adrenaline surge from being angry, but then it's really draining, and it is like being ill. So recovering from illness is like getting over the hindrance of anger and ill will. And being imprisoned is like dullness and drowsiness. And if you've experienced that in your meditation, you're trying to stay awake and it's just struggling to stay awake. Oh, I just feel it does. You can see how it would be like being in prison. And then slavery is restlessness and remorse. So person who's like kind of I guess it's a slave of your anxiety, a slave of your restlessness and remorse. It's certainly not a happy state, but after some time they're freed from servitude. And this is that can you see the relationship between restlessness and remorse and as being slavery?
Yeah, I feel like I'm bonded to that agitation, and I just, yeah, it's different than the jail, which is like confining.
Mhm.
The slavery is like I'm being pulled around by it. The bond, I think of like the chain gang kind of thing of being pulled around by it.
Or
That's what it feels like.
or the master saying, go here, go there, go here,
Yep,
go
yep,
there,
yep,
get this, get that. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, that's very much true.
Yeah. So yeah, there's not a sense of freedom with that. And then do I have doubt is missing?
No doubts there.
Oh, there it is.
I have
Suppose
no doubt.
suppose there was a person with wealth and property who traveled along a desert road, but after some time they crossed the desert safe and sound with no loss of wealth. Thinking this, they would be filled with joy and happiness. So in the commentaries, the person is at a crossroad in the desert, and then the thieves come and get them, attack them because of the doubt. And if you're doubting, um, some people, I've heard that it's said that doubt could be one way that people fall away from monastic life or fall away from practice because if they don't have the sada, the faith to keep going, and they're just too doubtful, it's also called speculative doubt, but it's more like really impatient to know and really not really taking the time to discover the answer for yourself or to ask people, but just kind of um, um, impatiently wanting the answer, but also being confused too. And that's, yeah, being lost in the desert. But this person has made it safely across without losing anything. They didn't get, the thieves didn't attack them because they didn't stand at the crossroads. So in the same way, these five hindrances are not given up. Okay, this is what Bhante Sujato has translated. I think I had Bhante Bodhi's translation of that same thing somewhere. In the same way, as long as these five hindrances are not given up inside themselves, the mendicant regards them as a debt, a disease, a prison, a slavery, desert crossing. But when the five hindrances are given up inside themselves, the mendicant regards this as freedom from debt, good health, release from prison, emancipation, and a place of sanctuary at last. Oh, here it is. Here's Bhante Bodhi's. Having abandoned these five hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom oh, okay, this is it. No, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to find the parallel to that one. But this is what happens. Having abandoned these five hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, one enters upon and abides in the first jhana. So this is the promise of doing all this work to abandon these unwholesome states, and supported by Indriya Samvara and Sati Sampajanya and our good conduct. So, and this is just the beginning, but we're getting into the really bright, wonderful, joyful. And you see that the joy that arises, this is from Digha Nikaya, when one sees these five hindrances have been abandoned within oneself, gladness arises. When they are gladdened, rapture arises. When one's mind is filled with rapture, the body becomes tranquil in body. One experiences happiness. Being happy, the mind becomes concentrated. They become immersed in samadhi.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities. They enter and remain in the first absorption, which has rapture and bliss born of seclusion, while placing the mind and keeping it connected. So I think we should open this to discussion at this point. We can't really finish the sutta. And I'm sorry that for those in on YouTube, if they can
Cat might have had to go, just popped off, I saw.
oh, okay, it's just about 9, close to 9 anyway. But yeah, we'll just continue this. Maybe we'll even just go over the similes of the hindrances and then get into the jhanas, because this is like a real transition from really struggling from all the kilesas to being free from them.
Yay!
And then the mind is pure and bright and joyful, and then one is able to enter samadhi.
Yay! I'm so looking forward to winter retreat.
So we'll stop the screen share, and I don't know, Kema is the only one present. I don't know if you have a Did you see anything in the chat?
No, no.
Okay.
Or we can go to the praise of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and take
Sure.
it offline and
Yeah, we can do that. Why don't we close for now, and we'll pick up next week, and hopefully we'll our internet,
yeah,
our
we'll work out.
website will be back up.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll close with the homage to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. We had a very small robe offering yesterday, so we friends brought flowers and
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday.
Mhm.
You can see the robe there by Ayani Annika. Arahant Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivadin Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you for